Baseball bat. I know baseball bat. Do we need a baseball bat? Do we really need a baseball bat? It's the Peacemaker. Silver bullet, yeah. Anyway, okay, so welcome back to the Corey Haim movie review. We're up to episode 36. Now, purposely picked this direction because it's a bit weird when you see a picture that you took of your room on Corey Haim's page. Not that it bothers us, but you know, it could be like, oh, can I use your picture? Anyway, off that rant. Last night, me and Britt sat down and watched Firstborn, also known as Moving In. Baseball bat, no baseball bat. Now this is a really, really old one, this one. And unfortunately, I could not play this because there's a bit of a tape load. So I had a phase a few weeks ago watching the VHSs and I didn't realise that was broken. And mind the bit's still in the box. And this is it's Corey Haim's very first movie. So he gets the introducing Corey Haim. He plays Brian. And now he's moving in. A new man in his mother's life. Dangerous, violent. The guy who plays his mum, well done Stephen, well done, plays Phoebe's mum in Friends. And you've got Peter Weller in there. And this also has Robert Downey Jr. and Sarah Jessica Parker. Now this was available to watch on Netflix for a while and then disappeared. So last night we had to pay £4.49 to watch this on Amazon Prime. As a Blu-ray, it'll set you back nearly £30. Then you got to worry about postage and customs charge from America. Now, Moving In was released in 1985. That is a massively old VHS. Alright, sits up there in the collection there. And, you know, when you just want to talk about this movie, it's a mother, her ex-husband's met someone else, he's always away, she's been left to raise two kids in a big house, doesn't really say what's happening. Looks like the dad might have paid off the house or left her the house. Chris Collette and Corey Haim play brothers. Chris Collette having about 3 or 4 years on there, and Chris Collette's friends are Robert Downey Jr. in school and also going out with Sarah Jessica Parker. And all of a sudden Peter Weller turns up, and this is a very slim Peter Weller who on IMDb notoriously gets into, you know, his method acting and this and soft spoken, but you can see there's something not going on there. And you know, Chris Collette's not having it and discovers that there's drugs in the house. He's also pushing on to his mum, and his mum sort of takes a bit of a weird turn, and then all of a sudden there's a lot of drugs in the house. So if again, like this movie says it came out next to Terminator. Remember Terminator became a big hit, so again, no one knew who James Cameron was when Terminator came out. So this film came out against Terminator. So if you look at Terminator, and this film is essentially just a straight up drama. You know, it's about a kid and his brother dealing with, you know, family problems. You know, having a stepfather, having a man come into life, dealing with a separation. So it deals with a lot of that, but then there's not really much goes on. You can see Peter Weller just boiling up to the point he does snap and has a baseball bat, and there's some very, very like serious acting. There's one bit where he kicks down the door, and then one bit where Chris Collette gets his motorbike and goes flying around, and Peter Weller comes after him in the car, and it's a pretty crazy ass chase. You know, it just literally, like, this movie's just a full on drama up until that bit, and just rocket fuels. Corey Haim has massive exposure in this movie. He's got quick wit, he's a kid at school who never loses a fight, he's always getting into trouble, and his big brother is looking out for him. And there's some very harsh language thrown around in here. Dickhead used a lot. Again, the brother rivalry, but he gets a lot of screen time. A lot more than he does in Secret Admirer, about the same time as Silver Bullet. And we haven't got round to Murphy's Romance next. Murphy's Romance probably will be the next one. That's sitting there still unopened. And again, Murphy's Romance is the one sitting on the shelf as well. So it's kind of like he gets a lot of, he gets introducing Corey Haim. He's billed above Robert Downey, not Junior creditors, not Junior, and Sarah Jessica Parker. They're nowhere to be seen in the end credits, so he gets a massive bill. Now, it's a good film. Not a lot of it really goes along, and you're also spotting people. I mean, to tell you a funny coincidence, right? There's a guy up in the background, and I haven't got my phone, he's on charge. And even like in the background, he's just eating food in the tea hall. And I was like, that's him. And Britt was like, that's who? And that's him from Stargate. And then he was in Stargate a few seasons ago, Stargate Atlantis. And then he pops up in Stargate last night when I put that on after Firstborn. But that was just a weird coincidence. So, you know, there's a few people who go, recognise him from Summit. But yeah, The big thing about this movie, and one of the things that, you know, it's weird that this isn't available because it is a solid, strong drama movie, is its connection to Pray for the Roller Boys. Now, Pray for the Roller Boys, unquestionably, is one of Corey Haim's biggest movies. It's the height of his career. He's got the awesome hair. But there's a bit of a backstory going on here because Corey Haim and Christopher Collect, years later, years after Firstborn, are moving in. And Griffin and Gary Lee were in Pray for the Roller Boys. First of all, I'll get them there. Have a history. Griffin moves to town, he's got a younger brother Milty, and Christopher Koletsky, yeah, we grew up together. We lived down the street and kind of stuff. And there's that history. And it bleeds through the film. That bleeds through the film, because no disrespect to Christopher Collette, if you watch him in The Langoliers, he's, you know, I mean, The Langoliers has a load of things wrong with it, but, you know, Chris Collette just stands out like a sore thumb, like the rest of the cast, when they're like, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing? In this and Pray the Roller Boys, he's been well directed. And again, when you watch Pray the Roller Boys, and they're like, yeah, I've got that history with you, and it's, you need to watch Firstborn. I was moving in. Because it's set years later after the downfall, and Gary Lee and Griffin clash like that, and Corey Haim and Christopher Collette clash like that, and it's, you know, it kind of shows you that, you don't need to teach that because they had that in real life. So that's a really interesting thing. But again, availability of the movies, as I say, it was on Netflix for a while, and then obviously Amazon Prime, and has been released on Blu-ray in America. But again, Firstborn is not a good name for the movie. Again, there's two brothers in this, and the oldest one is sort of having to take on like the new man in his mum's life. But in that, and then the moving in kind of thing, you know, and Peter Weller doesn't really come along. They're like 15-20 minutes into the movie, and it's not a very long movie at all. 1984, Corey and Christopher Collect, you know, Pray for the Roller Boys. Say your prayers, boy, they're coming. But yeah, as I said, it's one of those things where, you know, Corey Haim's movies are completely lost, and this one should be at least available, you know. What I mean, you look at these, you look at all of them, right? You look at all the films at that time, and Silver Bullet is the only one, and even that has been reclassified from an 18 to a 15 and stripped of all its extra features. Secret of Myra, out on Blu-ray in Europe but not England, hasn't seen the light of day of DVD. It's the same with Murphy's Romance, it's the same with this. It's kind of like them movies of Haim's. Yeah, Lucas was very briefly on DVD. You know, it's never seen the light of day on Blu-ray. So if you're talking about Haim's the thing, you kind of got to say, unless you've seen Silver Bullet, Lost Boys is the real introduction to him, because that's when he hit big. Again, some of these were out on VHS and stuff like that, but again, I bet people who are fans of Haim, when these films come out, weren't watching them yet because they're just essentially dramas. But yeah, I'm going to finish that rant and see you in the outtakes. So, here in the outtakes, yesterday I got 00 Kid. And this is a highlighting video, so Demolition High and Demolition U. I've been picking up a lot of the... Again, it's because there's none left to get. They're all there. But again, alternative artwork and just catching in the European ones. I would love to go into Europe and find shit like this. I always like to have a good story about when finding Corey Haim movies, like finding Shark City in Motueka, New Zealand. Finding Just One of the Girls in a Retro Soul Thumbs in York on Laserdisc. License to Drive, stuck to the fucking wall in New Zealand. So it's always cool to have a story about finding these movies. But again, got this one yesterday, quite cheap. Still waiting on two, and I'll tell you what they are. Silver Bullet is one, and that's from Germany, I believe. And Watchers, still not to be dispatched yet. So yeah, check out. I've been doing them separate to this. Thought it would have been cool, but again, they're nothing they've already been in this series, because we're up to episode 36, and the problem about this is none of them have been released to this point, which I'm happy to do, you know. But for now, goodbye for now.